So tell us about your story. Let us know you a little bit.
Absolutely. So I grew up Pentecostal in a very legalistic Pentecostal environment.
Okay.
And but I met Jesus at 4 years old for myself in the back of a prayer meeting and really just had a true throne room experience where I can vividly recall sitting at the feet of Jesus. Was baptized at 9 and grew up, in the church and with praying grandmothers who covered me in prayer, thank goodness, so that when I decided to not do all the right things, I had the prayer covering. Went to college for international studies and just always really felt that God had called me to lead and didn't really understand how we could use work as ministry or mission. And
because the church back then wasn't teaching that stuff.
Well, no, it was,
you were a minister if you were on the platform.
Yes.
The rest of you guys just pay for it.
Correct.
Right? So, but we've evolved.
Yeah, and really,
and
I didn't see women leading in ministry at the time either.
That's fair.
And so in the area that I lived and grew up in, it was a lot of the women were going to get married and have kids, and that's great, but I didn't feel that was my highest calling in life. And so studied international studies with a focus on socioeconomic development, women and children in developing countries. And then burned myself out and quit college because I didn't know about boundaries at the time, and I was a bit of an overachiever. Became a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years. Loved that, loved getting to be with my kids and raise my kids, but I always had this sense that God was calling me to business. To business and mission. Like there was something else bigger. So I started a skincare franchise where I had a team of about 400 women below me in the US and Australia. And in that space, I really rediscovered that I love developing leaders and I love calling people to who God calls them to. I love helping people develop their identity and take challenges. And so built out that sales team. And then while that was happening, I still felt God calling me to something more. I was speaking on stages, but he wanted me to speak about more than skincare and sales.
Right.
And went to Australia for a business trip and saw a billboard that said something about immigrants being targeted for trafficking. Now, I'm sure that I've heard this term before, but this was the first time it resonated with me to a sense where I thought, oh, this is something that I need to pay attention to. Came home from that trip and it just would not leave me alone. I just kept thinking like, what is this human trafficking thing? And started reading about it and studying about it and feeling God call me to it. But honestly, it seemed very scary and it didn't seem like something I wanted to be part of. I knew nothing about that
wasn't your
lifestyle, right? And as I leaned into it, I just kept hearing God at 3 o'clock in the morning. He would wake me up every night and he would say, move your feet and serve where you are. And I said, okay, God, here I am, open hands, open heart. I'll do what you're asking me to do. And I signed up for an A21 Walk for Freedom because I thought that has to be the most literal way to move my feet and serve where I am in this anti-trafficking
Describe what
space.
A21 is, because not everyone knows.
Yeah, so A21 is a global anti-trafficking organization.
Okay.
At the time, they would do local walks around the world on the same day to raise awareness and bring an end to human trafficking. So I thought, I'm going to go do this walk.
I can walk, right?
Yeah, I can walk. Like, I don't know if it's utilizing all my gifts and strengths, but I can walk, right? And so that was just that step of obedience that God needed, I think, to see me take, not knowing anything, just obediently moving my feet forward and being willing to learn and just have open ears and open heart to what this anti-trafficking thing was all about.
And then you also started a business. Tell me about, is it Power Hat?
Yes, the Power Hat Company.
Is this a Power Hat?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is it Power Hat?
Yes.
Is that powerhat.com?
It's the Power Hat Co.
ThePowerHatCo.com. Okay.
Yes.
I'm okay with people knowing that people do business.
Well,
right?
thank you. I mean, listen,
businesses.
I believe that God gives us work that we can offer as worship.
The Proverbs 31 woman, she had a couple of companies. I'm okay with that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I believe so. I believe we don't have to have a circle or a line between business, mission, and serving God.
Jesus didn't.
Right.
He owned a business the whole time he was in ministry.
Yeah, because, I mean, you got to fund it.
Right. That's spoken like a king and queen.
After I did the Walk for Freedom, Then I got involved with a local anti-trafficking coalition, which was law enforcement organizations, concerned citizens. And I started serving as a business coach at an aftercare home for survivors of trafficking.
Okay.
In that,
And those homes are everywhere around the country.
there's not enough, but yes, they are all over the country. Correct.
Right.
This one was within a network, and there were several homes in different states. And it's
So people can, I want to slow you down because our heart is to get, if there might be someone here like you who God is saying, move your feet, find out about this, okay? And if serve locally, because this is something you got to do hands-on. You can't, you can do it, I guess, through the internet, but there's something, it's really more hands-on. And so if there's, look around you and you can find where these places are. Okay, so you start to serve in the house, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is a faith-based home where individuals who've experienced exploitation and trafficking come. They have a safe place to live. They have counseling services, addiction services, and it just helps them rebuild. This is a 9 to 12-month program.
That's good. It takes that long, it really does.
That's just in the aftercare home. And then typically there's a transition period that's another 24 months or so after that, just so that people can be supported by a network of safe mentors that are advocating for them. So I started teaching this business coaching course at this aftercare home, and I kept identifying the same obstacles regardless of who sat across the table from me. They would come in, they would know their identity in Christ for the first time. They would have a relationship with Jesus. They would be clean and sober. And they would develop these gifts and these skills that they didn't even know they had before.
Right, absolutely.
They would start to dream, and they would just keep facing barriers of entry to gainful employment. And I sat across the table from a 19-year-old girl one day, and I asked her what her greatest challenge was on her upcoming vocational journey. And she just looked back at me, and she had so many goals and dreams, but she had a lifetime of abuse. And she said, I'm 19 years old. I've never had a legal job a day in my life. I've sold drugs. I've worked in strip clubs. I've been a sex worker. And now I'm in a program for sex trafficking. Are you going to hire me? And boy, if that didn't hit me to the heart, we had businesses, my husband and I did, but none of them made sense. They weren't a trauma-informed, healing-centered environment for these individuals to thrive. And that was the day that I went home and said, so we're starting a hat company, and we're going to employ the individuals who I mentor. So we launched that in October of 2020, and we are 5 years in, and we're grateful
That's the
to
Power
be here.
Hat.
The Power Hat Company, yes, the powerhatco.com.
Okay, all right. And so you, like a hat that you wear, it's a women's hat thing.
Yes, well, they're unisex. We have Western wool felt hats, beaver felt hats, straw hats. You can get a cowboy hat from me or a fashion hat.
Okay.
And we use the hat to create various levels of impact. So the hats are designed in Texas, and then they're manufactured in a factory in Mexico where we provide fair living wages and a safe work environment to make sure there's no forced labor there.
Right.
And then we have individuals who are survivors in the U.S. that make our leather hat bands for the hats, which provides gap income and transitional employment. So this way we're really on the prevention and restoration side of leveraging business to combat human trafficking.
Right, so they have a job, they feel better about themselves, they show up, 8 to 3, or whatever it is, they learn how to have that discipline in their life, but it really changes their mindset. That they are employable. They don't have to do bad things to make money.
It is, and it's great to see someone who has been out of life and been clean and sober for 5-6 years and see them begin to take on a new identity and a new role and say, you've given me a chance to do something with my life and realize that I have some gifts and strengths, because the goal is never for them to continue stamping leather hat bands for us. It's always to find a way to leverage their gifts and strengths to advance within our company or use what they have learned from us and go pursue their own career goals.